Members of the CBFC, George Baker from Kolkata, and joining us from Mumbai is Ashok Pandit. Prem Shukla of Dopair Ka Samna represents the right-wing point of view. With him tonight on the subject, she's against, you're for the curse list, or against the curse list, is Abha Singh. She's a well-known lawyer. She's on the wrong side tonight. Mukesh Bhatt, president of the Film and Television Producers Guild of India, Shobha and Bhavna Somaya are completing my panel. Who goes first? Who'd like to start first? I'd like to first go across to Mukesh Bhatt. Mr. Mukesh Bhatt, is there an argument on the other side? You know, these words which have been put out, of course, I will not repeat any of these words. Each of these are words. Many of them should be beeped, etc. But the logic is that these words are objectionable, they are abusive, and that they are against the law, and doesn't matter whether you have an A certificate or a U certificate or what language you are in, these words simply have to be removed. Mr. Mukesh Bhatt, the argument is being made here is a moral argument. You're first. Why don't you open the debate? Mukesh Bhatt.
See, first of all, Arnav, I would like to say that when Mr. Nihlani was appointed to this important chair, I personally, on behalf of the fraternity, was very happy that one of us has come on that responsible chair who will understand the problems of the filmmakers and see it in the right perspective. Little did I know that the very person whom I thought was one of us chose to take another path altogether. That has really baffled me and our entire fraternity and even challenged us. The same person is, see, how can you make, now I am the president of the Film Producers Guild of India. If I have certain views which I would like to implement so I think it's betterment for the industry, who am I to decide arbitrarily? I have to come in front of my council members, the stakeholders, and put the proposal of what I'm thinking. And then if everybody is on the same page, that's where we go and implement things. Here is a ban from my own fraternity passing such harsh decisions without even consulting us, not even bothering to consult us. This was shocking from a person who's from our own fraternity.
Let's go into the logic issue. Forget the consultative process. Let's go into the logic issue. George Baker, what's the logic? Tomorrow, a filmmaker, Mr. Baker, will want to make a film on the underworld, but the characters will be speaking like philosophers. Tomorrow, a filmmaker will want to make a film on the independence struggle, and suppose they want to make references to Bombay. The Censor Board will say, no, you have to refer to it as Mumbai. It's a complete anachronism. It makes no sense. What really is the thought behind this moral policing? Can you tell us, Mr. Baker?
Well, very frankly speaking, I would rather hold with a part of Mr. Pahlaj Nihalani's restrictions. Because if we refer to making films and we refer to using films as a medium of expression and at the same time a medium that conveys social content, it does not mean that we have to start allowing any and every sort of word coming into a dialogue.
What is any and every? Tomorrow, no.
What we have
what
to
is
do
any
is,
and every? No, what is any and every? I don't understand. Tomorrow, a filmmaker will want to make Prem Shukla or anyone. By the way, feel free to come into the debate. It's an open debate. Tomorrow, a filmmaker will want to make a film on gang wars in the rural heartland of India, but his characters will have to speak with a refined language. So basically, under this kind of moral policing, there would be no gangs of Wasipur. There wouldn't be half the films that are being made here today. Mr.
Well,
Baker,
I would just like to put a few points in front of you.
No, Mr. Baker, you tell me.
If you would just
Mr. Baker, answer my question. If I want to show gang wars, if I want to show gang wars in the rural heartland of India, what kind of language should the characters speak?
Fairly reasonably socially accepted language.
What nonsense.
Yes.
What nonsense are you talking?
I mean, it's all right for you to laugh. It's all right for you to laugh.
Socially accepted.
What I would ask you to do is kindly allow us to speak if you want us to speak.
1 second, Mr. Baker, please.
Mr.
Baker, don't censor my program, please.
Speak or we keep quiet
Mr. Baker, don't censor my program, please. Thank you very much. Yes, please. Let's get other points of view.
No, I'm not censoring your program. You're censoring my point of view.
Shobha.
You're censoring my point of view, and that is something I don't hold with.
Sir,
you are talking of freedom of expression.
Sir, you're on the other side. Even the moral police must hear.
I think that's pretty absurd.
Sir, even the moral police must listen. Do you know what you're saying? You can't refer to certain animals here in the course of this nowadays. If that were to be the case, then Dharmender's character in 1975 Sholay would have been banned. Phulan Devi's character in Bandit Queen would have been banned. Jab We Met would be banned. Omkara would be banned. Dirty Picture would be banned.
I would just like to draw...
Mr. Baker, come on. You know, we don't need this.
Now, may I say something?
No, 1 second, Mr. Baker. Here others, please. Shobha
I don't need you censoring my talk.
That's all right, Mr.
What I need is...
Mr. Baker, tolerance. Mr. Baker,
tolerance. Don't include me in this.
Mr. Baker, tolerance for others' point of view is very important, even for CBFC members. Yes, please, Shobha.
I think we're missing the point.
Yes, tolerance,
totally,
absolutely right. But at the same time, kindly refer to people like Mr. Satyajit Ray, Mr. Raj Kapoor, Mr. Mrinal Sen, Mr. Tapan Sinha, people, directors of their ilk who used to make films which have become legends and historic.
Mr. 1 second,
I would request you to look at
Mr. Raj Kapoor's films.
But why are we comparing?
Mr. Raj Kapoor's films.
That's not what the topic is about.
Why are we comparing?
No, we are comparing with a reasonable
Okay, Ashok Pandit, please, on the screen, since he's saying something.
What I'm talking of is let's have a reasonable amount.
Very important. For me, Madhur Bhandarkar is also very important. For me, Anurag Kashyap is also very important. For me, Vishal Bhardwaj is also very important.
It's not about importance.
It could be very important.
So let us not compare the directors.
Excuse me.
You cannot issue this kind of a fatwa.
Can you please stop shouting? It's about
I am not comparing directors. I am comparing the taste.
A unilateral
Let us improve our taste as a nation.
Without consulting a board. Why is the board there in the first place? Is it a one-person board? If that is so, let the BJP declare that this one man has the authority to decide which language is acceptable, which words are acceptable. He does not possess that authority. He is doing it unilaterally. He is doing it arbitrarily. And also the BJP, I'm sorry to say this, the BJP, the Sadhvis use worse language.
Yes.
The Sadhvis, the parliamentarians use worse language.
Why do you blame a political party for the use of language?
Is he going to be banning them?
Why are we getting BJP into this?
Because he's a BJP nominee.
Let us not get BJP into this.
He's a BJP nominee.
This is a filmmaker who was passed in
He's a declared Modi supporter. That's why. So why don't they first start?
I object to Shobha getting BJP into this discussion. Pahlaj Nihalani is a filmmaker.
Mother Teresa's doings, but that does not mean that I am Mother Teresa.
About censorship. It's a discussion about specific words in cinema. We are not talking about Satyajit Ray and Raj Kapoor and doing a sort of quality test here.
I strongly suggest, 1 second, I don't know why you're getting so touchy about the BJP. The government did nominate him. I mean, he didn't nominate himself here.
He himself is a BJP declared supporter of Mr. Modi's
So let us not get BJP into this.
Yes, I will get it into this because it's relevant.
We are filmmakers and we have our own mind.
Argument. Who are you to say we can't get BJP into this argument? He is a BJP nominee. He is a self-declared Modi nominee.
Because BJP is a fan.
1 second.
Politicizing the entire issue.
Censor Board.
Gentlemen, there is a board. It's not one man.
Articles in the newspaper.
It says it should not violate your.
No, don't politicize.
It should not be vulgar. So what Pahlaj Nihalani is doing is he's following the guidelines of the Censor Board, the objectives. So you have to see.
No, you tell me one thing. You tell me 1 second. 1 second. Gentlemen, a minute, please. A minute, please. Can I ask you one? No. 1 second. 1 minute, please. You know, all kinds of objectionable language can be used in parliament and in political rallies. But they can't be used, abusing, in movies. One. B, are you for or against films like Gangs of Wasseypur? Do you feel that these films should or should not be made? Or do you feel the language should be different if they are to be made? And if the language is to be different, can you tell us, for example, what kind of language should be used in films like Gangs of Wasseypur?
We have to see what the law of the land says. If the objective...
No, 1 minute, please.
The notification. See, we are here in a democracy. If the notification says it has not to be vulgar and obscene, when Indian Penal Code 294 says that if you are speaking using an obscene word, you can be imprisoned for 3 months. If it says any words which violate the modesty of the women, it is a cognizable offence in this country.
I am asking you, Abba Singh. I am asking you 1 second, please.
Imprison the sadhvis in that case.
No, do that also. Imprison them also.
So let's not have double standards.
Intellectuals cannot take the country for a ride.
Who are the super intellectuals?
No.
Are you saying?
Who's the pseudo intellectual?
Yes.
It is also freedom of expression.
1 second, please.
Your very channel, Arnab, your very channel talks of the sick mindset which is leading to so many rapes of minor girls. You have been championing the cause and it has been proven.
Two different stories. Don't confuse issues.
All these obscenity has led to rape of minor girls. The pornography which is being shown, it has shown, Arnab, you have yourself done it, and let us be honest about it.
1 second first.
So the Censor Board all along has been disregarded the
Nihlani is doing. He's done it.
All the other Censor Board chiefs, have not done their job.
If it is obscene, you change the law. Ask the parliamentarians to change the law.
No, 1 second.
Don't make it BJP Congress. Make it for the country. The society's values and standards are more important.
Who decides these values and standards?
First of all, Abba Singh, you know, if you ask filmmakers and scriptwriters that when they write each line, there should be a lawyer with them. They should immediately take legal opinion. Sir, Mr. Ashoke Pandit, please. I know the kind of language you used about Karan Johar in your tweets recently. Why don't you improve your language?
To talk. Exactly.
Why don't you censor your language?
No, that was an
Mr.
individual.
Ashok Pandit.
That was an individual.
No, what do you mean individual?
Different set of laws. Different set of laws to abuse an individual.
Just a minute. Ashok Pandit, listen to me. Listen to me, Mr. Ashok Pandit. I have your tweets with me. I'm not repeating them. It is a matter of convenience for you, Mr. Ashok Pandit. On the one hand, you stand against the ban of objectionable language on screen. I don't even want to repeat the ridiculous, disgusting, pathetic, personal, unfortunate, shameful comments that you use on the social media. In fact, Mr. Ashok Pandit, let me tell you directly today, for using this kind of language, on a social medium, a person who is member of the Censor Board, you use this kind of language in the social medium. I question how you can be on the Censor Board after using this kind of language, Mr.
And why shouldn't he be persecuted according to law?
I want to ask.
Yes, of course, everybody who violates the law has to be
prosecute this guy
as an individual.
Mr. Ashok Pandit, 1 second, please.
Don't compare and don't.
I will compare.
Don't mix up.
I will compare. I am at liberty to.
My character is talking.
I am at liberty to, Mr. Ashok Pandit. I am at liberty to. Any government, I am at liberty to speak for what I think is right, Mr. Pandit. Don't you try to censor my voice.
There is a difference between character who's talking and there is a difference between an individual who's talking.
Mr. Ashok Pandit.
Cuss words are cuss words, regardless of who you're aiming them at.
Now, Mr. Ashok Pandit.
So there are no different sets of laws.
No.
So if a cuss word is breaking a law, then you should be prosecuted.
Okay,
change the law.
Otherwise, change the law.
Can I get Bhavna Somaya into it? Shobha, I have a few examples, and I want to. Bhavna Somaya was laughing as this discussion was proceeding. I have a couple of questions. You know, would Rani Mukherjee's character's usage of abuses to convey a certain frightful situation in No One Killed Jessica be as strong if she had not used quote-unquote objectionable language as part of her overall character portrait? Would Vidya Balan's character in Dirty Picture, for that example, been as real if she would have overstepped the usage of puns? Or the great film made Omkara have justified its attempt at adapting Othello to an Indian context, which saw the film in a Western UP context involving true characters, part of a gang speaking a certain language. All of this will now disappear, Bhavna. And this is very real. It's actually a diktat which has been... Why were you laughing when she was speaking?
No, I was laughing at the outrage of everybody. And my answer to you is that, of course, it would not be effective. But I really think that we are losing the point. The point is that all these points that Pahlaj Nihalani has made more or less everything has already been there. It is just rephrased and put, and somehow because it has reached all the offices, everybody, there is an outrage. For example, double meaning dialogue, double meaning lyrics, double meaning...
no, I think he's taken it many steps further.
I think the only new one is
we don't want to use these
Mumbai.
Words. Yeah. No, there are many other words
and
in Hindi and English.
Virginity.
No, there are many other words, and let's not use those words on the channel.
But what I feel about the film fraternity here is
but we are not ready to use it on the channel.
Abba,
the 1 minute we want to see.
What I feel about the film fraternity is that everything, whenever they are submitting a film to the censors, is eventually judged according to the context and the character. And when the examining committee is watching a film and members are making their cuts, they are discussing it with the RO, and the filmmaker is called into the room and he's given a chance to advocate his case.
Irrespective. I don't think that's important. The question is...
I think it is important or not.
No, I'll tell you why, Ms. Somaya, I don't agree with you. The question is, do we want to live in a real world or an unreal world? And I think we are basically saying, is Indian society mature enough to accept reality? Do we want to really unravel? For example,
we all be nude?
I feel...
No, Mr. Baker, don't stretch the argument, please. What I'm not saying, don't try and stretch it. It may try... Mr. Baker, let me ask you. A character from... One second. A character from Dev-D...
Very important for me to tell Mr. Baker something.
Yes, go ahead, Mukesh Bhatt. Okay, go ahead.
Hello, Arnav.
Go ahead, Mukesh Bhatt.
You see, last year being the president of the guild, I had the privilege of meeting the Cultural Affairs Minister of China. And when I met him, he asked me a very interesting question. He told me, Mr. Bhatt, if I have to ask you in one sentence, what is that defining feature of Bollywood, of the Indian film industry, that makes it so powerful, that is the most powerful entertainment industry of Asia of the East? I looked at him and I told him one thing. I said, we have freedom of expression.
Yeah, that's right.
Free to make any kind of subject the way the writer conceives, the filmmaker conceives, which China doesn't offer. His face went white and he nodded in agreement with me.
You want to take that away?
That is the fundamental thing which I'm asking. That is being taken away now by this regressive mindset.
That is why right in the beginning, what Mr. Arnab Goswami found very hilarious was when I said, let us have some socially acceptable language.
Yes, so I didn't find it hilarious. I found...
We are talking about the real world.
No, one second.
We are talking
Mr.
about
Baker.
the digital space.
Mr. Baker.
In digital space, any kind of controlling is obsolete, regressive, and outdated. We are living in a digital era.
No, one second. You see, this is what Mr. Baker believes. Mr. Baker, I think you are among those people who believe that we can continue to live in a bubble.
Which world are we living in?
No, we want to live in a bubble over which there is some thought control and a moral police, and the self-appointed moral commissioners like Mr. Baker will sit around and decide what is right and wrong. Mr. Baker, are you even aware of the guidelines issued in 1991 of the Censor Board? Are you aware of the objectives of film certification? Are you actually, let me ask you, let me quiz you today. You're a member of the Censor Board, right? Can you tell me what the objectives of film certification are?
I have just become one, yes.
So can you tell me what the objectives of film certification are? Can you tell me what the objectives of film certification are?
We are supposed to certify, not censor.
No, I'm asking Mr. Baker because he's our new moral commissioner.
Certify, not
Mr.
censor.
Baker, what are the objectives of film certification?
No, I'm not a moral commissioner. Please don't try to ridicule my point of view.
No, but what are the guidelines of film certification?
No, you have no right to do this. Please
what
don't
are the guidelines of film certification? I believe you are. You take away my right. You try and do things that take away my right to watch what I want in the way that I want, and you now want to control my expression. I'm sorry, Mr. Baker. I'm really sorry, Mr. Baker. You may be a member of the Censor Board, but you also have your limits.
Yes,
now I'm asking you, Mr. Baker.
I am very much more liberal than you people are.
Mr. Baker, I'm
very much more liberal than you people are.
Mr. Baker, how are you liberal? My question to you is, can you tell me the guidelines?
Simply because I used the words socially acceptable language.
So, Mr. Baker, I'm asking you a question. Let us understand. Let us understand what is socially acceptable.
It's very simple.
One second, Mr. Baker, I have a question for you. Will you listen to me or not? My question to you is...
Yes.
There is a character from a film called Dev-D. I don't know, have you seen Dev-D?
No, I have not.
Okay. Have you seen Delhi Belly?
No.
Yes, I have.
So, okay. So, would Delhi Belly have accurately told the story of average Indian males in their 20s in urban India who found themselves in the midst of a powerful crime syndicate, should they not have expressed themselves in quote-unquote objectionable words?
Well, basically, were these things, are they being, these words, are we using them normally in our day-to-day life?
What are you talking about? I am not I don't know, I'm not a member of a crime syndicate.
Has he put earplugs in his ears when he goes out into the streets or in offices?
Since we are not members of a crime syndicate, how are we expected
do you not listen to people on trains, buses, streets, bazaars, theatres, your neighbours? I mean, do you walk around with earplugs?
Okay, what's it? Mr. Baker, Mr. Baker, what have you seen gangs of Wasseypur? One second. Prem Shukla is with me in the studio. I have a question for him.
Can I come in, Arnab?
No, 1 second, Ashok Pandit. 1 minute, please, Ashok Pandit. Prem Shukla, have you seen gangs of Wasseypur?
Yes, I have seen.
Have you seen? 1 second. Have you seen gangs of Wasseypur?
Yes.
You have seen gangs of Wasseypur. Can you tell me Manoj Bajpayee's character? Right? What was the name of Manoj Bajpayee's character? Sardar Khan. My question, I am asking. Now, my question to you is, no, it's not a Kaun Banega Crorepati question. My question to you is, this is a film which is set in the coal mafia of Dhanbad.
Yes.
Tell me, what kind of language would you like the coal mafia of Dhanbad to use?
I have no objection.
Just tell me, please.
I
want to know
about the language.
No, you tell me. You tell me what is the kind of language which you want.
I have no objection about the film certified by the Censor Board and exhibited in this country. There, I have never complained
about
these
films.
Any film.
No, these films.
I'm just
1 second.
This
list which is here, which I don't want to read out. No, this according to.
Please allow me to put my point.
Mr. Nihlani, you ask any of these women out there. No, 1 second. Mr.
There is a problem. Please try to understand.
Sir, I am asking you.
Please try to understand the problem.
What is the problem?
There is existing Victorian laws which are not acceptable to the society. Victorian laws. Victorian laws existing.
1 second. She's asking
Mr. Shukla, your party is a part of the government. Why don't you change the laws?
No, I'm not.
Time the laws are there, they have to be respected.
Please allow to put my point.
Republic. We cannot.
Before completing my point, you are interrupting. So you are not getting me properly. Please allow me to put my point. अभिव्यक्ति की आजादी आवश्यक है, दी गई है, लेकिन अपशब्द की आजादी नहीं है. अपशब्द की आजादी देना है तो आप उसका वर्गीकरण कर सकते हैं, उस पर आप डिस्कशन कर सकते हैं, कानून बना सकते हैं, और विक्टोरियन लॉ से जो करंट लॉ है वो क्या बनना चाहिए उस पर ओपन डिबेट कर लीजिए कि सोसाइटी में, पार्लियामेंट में. नहीं, वो उस फिल्म को लेकर मुझे कोई आपत्ति नहीं है. I have no objection on that film.
I tell you, Mr. I tell you,
I have no objection about the expression.
I don't know which century.
Freedom of expression, no one can challenge it. But you cannot give.
Go to the court and get this list null and void.
No.
Why don't people go and object in the court? My biggest question is this: the way crime is happening against women in this country, why?
How are you thinking
it? Biggest
mindset is being.
Please identify the force.
These vulgar.
Please identify the force.
Okay. Arnab, I have a question to ask. I want to ask a question. That when Arvind Kejriwal was being referred to by some of these very words by political parties, why wasn't everybody in a state of outrage then, saying, oh, but you know, this is terrible and we must object to that? He was called this and worse by BJP rivals and others. Why weren't we so outraged?
That is what I'm saying.
How can you connect crimes against women?
Why don't we take an action? Why don't we go to the court?
Let's not confuse issues and bring crimes against women into this.
The law says that you cannot have any of these words which
we can't have double standards either.
You have to uphold the law.
We cannot have double standards.
Every time we say the Sikh mindset is leading to the rape of minor girls of 5, 6 years.
Nobody is saying that.
My worry is that you, when the country is not mature, you cannot talk. The freedom of expression has reasonable restrictions.
Sir, don't give. No. 1 second. No.
Who decides who's mature and who's not mature?
These words are not maturity.
Abha, let me. What you are doing?
If you get the World Cup, I will become nude. Is that freedom of expression?
I'm sorry, Abha. Both you and George Baker are using certain outdated, antediluvian, absolutely contradictory and hypocritical. If I may say so. Absolutely hypocritical arguments. And in that case, I Pahlaj Nihalani. I want Pahlaj Nihalani to turn himself into jail tonight. 1 second. I want Pahlaj Nihalani. 1 second, Ashok Pandit. I want Pahlaj Nihalani. 1 second, Ashok Pandit. To go to the closest police station. Right? And I want this gentleman called George Baker to have the guts to say that of all people, Mr. Baker should say that first Mr. Pahlaj Nihalani should turn himself into jail because he made a film called Andaz in 1994. I don't even want to repeat the kind of disgusting language which was used, Mr. Baker. You talk of Satyajit Ray. 1 second. First of all, you have a censor board chief who has made the kind of films which would make all our great filmmakers turn in their grave. The kind of language. He has the moral guts to talk today.
Well,
the kind of shame. 1 second, sir. 1 second. 1 second, sir. Please let me speak now. Do you know the kind of language that he used in this film called Andaz?
Either fortunately or unfortunately, I did not get the opportunity.
Well, great. Then I think next time, Mr. Baker, before you support him, go and ask him whether he should be there or not. I find it ridiculous that a person who's made this kind of low-level language films should now be talking about the moral degradation of society. I have the lines here with me. I will not repeat it. I will send it to you. You'll be embarrassed that you are operating under such a censor board chief. And then on top of it, you want to come on television and lecture us?
I'm not lecturing. All I asked was for some socially acceptable language.
What is socially acceptable? Who decides? You decide?
That's all.
You decide what is socially acceptable or what is not?
You are deciding because you are not referring to the words.
I'm telling you, tomorrow Seema Biswas's character. You want Seema Biswas to speak a certain language when she portrays Bandit Queen? Have you seen Bandit Queen?
But Bandit also had a lot of censor problems.
Not because of only language.
The role of a bandit queen that you have to be foul-mouthed.
No, then you have to, I'll tell you, I'm sorry, but then you want a certain kind of sanitized speech. You want certain situations. You want certain...
Yes.
Then I think...
Because society has to live in a sanitized way.
I can't believe this.
Not live in an
I can't believe this.
World.
I can't believe this. What are you doing, Mr. Baker?
You can't believe it. It's
you are here to sanitize society. This is actually happening. Viewers, please watch this. We have a CBFC member who wants to sanitize society.
Yes, I am a CBFC member. I have just become one.
You want to sanitize society? Yes, Ashok.
Arnab, I want to.
No, but why do you have to say to Mr. Baker, what are you people doing in the censor board nowadays? What kind of censor board is
this? And my chairperson, Pahlaj Nihalani, Arnab, all the cuss words, the list which has come out, the fatwa which has come out, am I able to use other cuss words which are not in the list? What does this list mean? Can I create new cuss words and use in the film?
That is what I said.
How can you fix up that? You can't use this cuss words only. It's a joke. This is a joke. This fatwa is a joke.
Why don't you resign?
It's a joke against
why don't you resign?
Exactly.
Ashok Pandit, resign.
I'm ashamed to get this list.
Resign, Ashok Pandit, resign. Why be a member of the censor board and speak on news?
You are protecting. I will try and bring in a change. I don't believe in running. I don't believe in running from the ground.
Go to the court and get
bring in a change in the system.
The conduct of
we don't believe in running.
I want to ask. We can't go on this forever.
His conduct should be investigated.
There's a very important question I want to ask Abbas Singh and Mr. Baker.
Yeah, go ahead, Mukesh.
A very important question I want to ask.
Go ahead, Mukesh, but go ahead. Go ahead.
There is a film a period film called Bombay Velvet, made by Anurag Kashyap.
Yeah.
It's a period film of Bombay in the 60s.
Yeah.
Now with the new diktat which has come, you cannot use Bombay, you have to use Mumbai. Now tell me one thing, how can it be so ridiculous that you're making a period film of Bombay in the 60s and call it Mumbai?
Change Bombay Times.
No, watch, just one. Let one.
High Court is here.
Ashok Pandit is replying. Go ahead, Ashok Pandit.
Now we are talking about a period film.
Bombay Times
that time Bombay was Bombay, not Mumbai.
Yeah.
How can you call it Mumbai?
We are not consulted.
Exactly.
And here on one side, let me finish. On one side, our Honorable Prime Minister is wooing the foreign investors to come into the country. And this film, Bombay Velvet, is produced by 20th Century Fox. What kind of signals are we sending them? That we are undependable people? We work on our personal whims and fancies? There's no law and order in this country? You want to woo the foreign studios to come here, and then you pass a dictate overnight that Bombay Velvet should be called Mumbai Velvet.
No, let Mr. Baker reply. Let Mr. Baker reply, please.
Well, basically, considering that it was Bombay then, it should remain Bombay.
No, but if you're a bunch
because
of
one
then
why does your chairman take it to be Mumbai?
Even if it is not
at that time.
No, but even if it is not then,
no,
I have a right to use Bombay.
No, and the court will strike it.
What's going on here?
What
kind of censor board do we? Why do we need this kind of censor board? I think you should all resign because what comes out to me, Mr.
Like
Baker, is that this is like an incoherent bunch of people who don't know anything, are not in touch with reality, trying to impose their confused views on the rest of the people in this country.
They don't even know cinema.
Mr. Goswami, I just want to ask you one question.
Yes, please, Mr. Baker.
I want to ask you one question.
Yes, Mr. Baker.
Are you using these sort of words in your house?
No, Mr. Baker, I think...
Are you allowing these
sort of words
to be
am I a member of a gang?
In the class?
One second. Mr. Baker, I think you have... I'll reply to Mr. Baker. I will reply to Mr. Baker. I will reply to Mr. Baker because unfortunately, Mr. Baker, you're a very senior man and I don't want to descend to outright, debate with you to a level which you want to fall down to. I mean, you want to fall to that debate, Mr. Baker, it is your choice.
I don't want
you want to get personal with me, Mr. Baker. Let me tell you, I handle a lot of people, including politicians who you may be wanting to get the patronization of by taking this kind of a weird position. Now, let me tell you, Mr. Baker, Mr. Baker, please understand a couple of things. We are talking about certain social situations which are shown in movies, right? What are we talking about? We are talking about the depiction of gangs. We are talking about certain places in rural India where there is a law and order problem. We are talking about gangs of Wasipur, which, by the way, Mr. Baker, for your information, got national awards in 2013. Right? We are talking about the depiction of sex workers. We are talking about different situations where the real expressions may not match what for you may be socially or socially unacceptable. So I would like to tell you, Mr. Baker, that your very poor, pathetic attempt to descend into a personal riffraff with me has bounced back on you, Mr. Baker. Just think about what you're doing.
This is
the fact of the matter is, and this is exactly the fact. You see, Mr. Baker, I would have liked you to add a more profound question rather than make a personal, shallow argument of the kind that you have done right now. You people are in denial about violence against women in our country because according to this list of objectionable words which the Censor Board wants deleted from all films, violence against women should not be shown on screen. My question to you, Mr. Baker, which fundamentally you may choose to answer, is whether not showing violence against women on screen, you are just mocking the existence of the problem in civil society. Because statistics after statistics in a country where in 2013 there are more than 300,000 instances of violence against women in our country, you people have the courage to tell all filmmakers do not depict violence against women in this country? Mr. Baker, by not showing it, will you wish away the problem? Answer me. Answer me.
I would just like to say one thing. And that is, we all know that smoking is injurious to health.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Yes, don't say, oh, God.
Mr. Baker, I don't know what you're doing, Mr. Baker.
Yes. Of course. We know that. We know it. It comes out.
Mukesh Bhatt will reply to
every film.
I can't believe what's going on here, Mr. Baker. And I'm really worried.
Which word are you talking about, Mr. Baker?
Mukesh Bhatt is responding to you. Mukesh Bhatt, please. Mukesh Bhatt.
Which word are you
talking about?
To Mr. Baker.
And real life.
We are talking, Mr. Baker, about the real world in which we all live in. Which world are you talking about? The world where nobody smokes, where nobody drinks, where everybody is walking on the street is a virgin? What are we talking about?
No, it's just...
For God's sake,
it's just
come
that
to terms with reality. We are living in a real world and we cannot make movies of a world which does not exist.
Film is a reflection of society.
We have to reflect the society. The society as it is.
Films is a reflection of society.
I think you know the hashtag tonight is curse list. I would request people to raise their voice against what's happening so that your point of view can be heard by the people who matter. I don't think right now the answer can be, we don't sort of agree with Pahlaj Nihalani. If Pahlaj Nihalani is a dangerous moral commissioner on the loose and he's done this just a few days after taking over, God knows what he's going to do over the next few years if he continues, Bhavna.
What should happen now?
Yes.
What should happen now is Mukesh Bhatt says he's living in a real world.
One second.
There's only way out for us.
1 second, Mukesh Bhatt. Bhavna Sumaya is saying something to you. Yeah.
Because you live in a real world like us, now we have to solve this in a real way. So you have to meet up with the INB ministry, the film fraternity, represent it correctly, and then take action.
Yeah, and I think in the meantime, Ashok Pandit, you should resign.
I 100% agree with you.
Ashok Pandit, in the meantime, you should resign.
What I want to say here is that
you can't be
our very own person from our fraternity, when he's sitting on that important chair, and he passes all these things without even approaching us, without any discussion, is something which baffles me completely.
Absolutely. Well,
again and again,
one second. Prem Shukla,
the people in the ministry,
sir, if you've not been
consulted, the organizations are not consulted. The film fraternity is not consulted.
What are you doing?
What are you doing then on the as a member of the Censor Board? Once Shobhade is asking you something. Yeah, go ahead, Shobha.
I just want to know, in that case, what are you doing on the Censor Board?
Sorry?
I mean, you're part of an organization. You have no say in the matter. Then a self-respecting person would resign. It's a toothless board.
Shobhaji, I will answer you. Shobhaji, I will answer you.
Go ahead.
Shobhaji, can I answer you? The day we came to know about this list, we have reacted on this. We have a meeting on 23rd.
Mr. Ashok Pandit, Mr. Ashok Pandit, now just wait a minute and let me tell you something, and don't react and don't feel bad, because what I'm about to say to you is something that you should now listen to. Today, you know, you take this very convenient position. Today you stand for freedom. Mr. Ashok Pandit, relax, Mr. Pandit, relax, please. 1 second. Today you stand for creative liberty. Today you stand for freedom.
I'm relaxed, you relax.
Mr. Ashok Pandit, a fortnight back, you were questioning whether a stand-up comedy act was approved by the authorities. You used ridiculous, dangerous, disgusting, pathetic, low-level language in your tweets. The fact is, Mr. Pandit, you fall into the same trap of curbing freedom of expression today, because you have different standards to what is objectionable according to the medium and the people involved. And Mr. Ashok Pandit, hear me please. The argument being made today is that the audience has the option to go and watch a film. The argument, yes, individual choice, I'll tell you, individual choice. The argument being made today, Mr. Ashok Pandit, and now hear me. The argument being made today is that the audience has the option to go and watch a film, and thereby films don't have a moral obligation to be preachy. If you don't want to listen to my question, how will you answer it? Listen to my question, Mr. Pandit, asking you a question now. Please, listen to me. Listen to me. The same argument. Listen to the question. You're in such a hurry to answer the question sometimes, Mr. Pandit. You don't listen. Listen to me now. For 1 minute, listen. It will be difficult for you, but listen. It will be painful for you, but listen, Mr. Pandit. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Now the argument being made today is that the audience has the option to go and watch a film. Therefore, films don't have to be preachy. The same argument can be used to defend a stand-up comedy act. It's a private event, no obligation on political correctness. How can you how can you stand for one and the other one you call a porn show on stage? You realize, and your comment was on the social media where millions of people are watching the kind of generalizations you make. So, Mr. Pandit, sometimes ask yourself whether you have the same standards for yourself that you set for others.
You cannot accuse women who are not there.
Now there, Mr. Pandit.
Abuse women who are not there.
Calm down.
You have no right to abuse Farida Jalal and Rima Lagu who were not there, Arnab Goswami. You have no right to abuse Farida Jalal and Rima Lagu who were not there.
They don't need Ashok Pandit.
And nobody has given the right to you. There is a difference between AIB show and cinema.
Well, Mr. Pandit, the question is about hypersensitivity. I feel, Mr. Pandit, the question is about hypersensitivity. Don't get angry. Relax.
No, it's not hypersensitivity.
My question is, 1 second, sir.
Me without my permission.
Mr. Pandit, you can resign. Now my question to Prem Shukla is, Prem Shukla, are you realizing here that आजकल के ज़माने में ये मॉरल पुलिस, ये अपने मॉरल कमिश्नर्स, ये लोग क्या करेंगे, वैलेंटाइंस डे में नहीं करेंगे, ये फिल्म में नहीं होगा, ये लैंग्वेज यूज, ये आप लोग सब आउटडेटेड हो चुके हैं। आप आउटडेटेड हो चुके हैं।
हमारी बात भी ना सुनिए।
नहीं, मैं कह रहा हूँ
आप आउटडेटेड का
क्योंकि कई सारे
आप तो हमारी फिल्म बनने नहीं दिया, सर्टिफिकेट दे दिया।
नहीं, मैंने फिल्म नहीं बना रहे आप, थैंकफुली, मगर आप लोग तो आउटडेटेड हो चुके हो ना।
बिल्कुल नहीं हुए हैं।
नहीं, आप समझ के आप माइनॉरिटी पे चले गए।
हमें सबसे ज्यादा आश्चर्य इस बात पर है कि जिन पहलाज निहलानी की फिल्मों को हमने जो है बहुत वल्गर एक्शंस के लिए देखा, वो सेंसर बोर्ड के चेयरमैन बनते ही बदलाव जो आया वो उनसे पूछा तो जरूर जानना चाहिए कि what is that cause when he changed himself. He is a filmmaker.
I think so.
Who always used vulgar scenes.
I'm saying it tonight.
And now he is giving dictates without consulting to the board.
Mr. Pahlaj Nihalani, I think
there is a point.
Tolerated. Why? Because they have problems with BJP. If Mr. Prem Shukla, his party is serious, why don't you put an objection? No, Mr. Shukla. Why? Because you are the lawmakers. Change the law. Change the law if vulgarity is not required. If Pahlaj Nihalani is transgressing his power, dismiss him. Remove Pahlaj Nihalani. Start an inquiry.
You know something.
And I should not ask for these.
You know, I have great faith.
I have my rights. Express my opinion.
Go to the court. Even for Bombay, if they are saying don't use Bombay, it is not a patent. It is not covered by IPR. We can always go to the Bombay High Court and get it quashed. We can get it quashed.
Mr. Abbas Singh, frankly, I have just one thing to say. I think Indians
why should they go to the court?
I think Indians are
mature. They are not mature.
There is no reason. Now, if the basic premise of your argument is that we are not mature,
not we are not mature. There is a 60%
this is a very condescending attitude.
You cannot.
Okay. You decide your society is not mature.
We have to see. No, half the debates here have taken place that the Sikh mindset is responsible for the increasing crime against women in this country. Half the debates we have done.
I feel I differ with you.
You may differ, but the reality is this.
So cinema is to blame.
No, cinema.
They are causing the rapes.
Cinema, of course, to some extent, we follow the film stars. Of course, they are the role model in the society. They are the role model. What they tell you,
Bhavna is shocked at what you say.
She may be shocked. Let her get the law changed.
Let Bhavna reply. Let her have a chance to speak.
You please.
Let Bhavna speak.
How can you blame Bollywood and Bollywood people for everything? How can you say cinema is causing the rapes? How can you say film stars are doing it?
Illogical and irrational.
It is unforgivable.
Let us speak.
The youth of this country is in such a malleable phase.
You need to apologize immediately.
No, you apologize.
Why apologize? What is the
objection as part of film fraternity?
No, one second.
The youth is following the pornography which is shown on the YouTube. There are so many NCRB figures which say people are watching.
Abha, do you also believe, Abha, do you believe, let me understand, do you believe like China we should ban YouTube also now?
No, not ban YouTube. Regulate it if you have to. No, you have to. You have to.
All right.
The law of this country. If the law says that anything which is
China model in other words.
Okay, Mukesh Bhatt is having the last word.
This is absurd. I don't know.
Mukesh Bhatt.
After Mukesh, I'll have the last word.
Mukesh Bhatt. Okay. Shobha De, 1 minute. Shobha De.
If 294, let us get 294 IPC quashed.
1 second. Please, the law is meant, Abha, the law is meant to serve the people's interest, not demolish people or trample over people. Mukesh Bhatt wants to say something. Yeah, I just want to say two things. I think people are mature. I think Pahlaj Nihalani should resign. And I think Pahlaj Nihalani should lock himself up in an auditorium, watch his own films for a while, Mukesh Bhatt. I actually think he should be put in a zone where the best of the terrible language used by Pahlaj Nihalani should play, and he should watch it and then ask himself a few fundamental questions after. The only way to reform Pahlaj Nihalani is to make him watch his own films. Yes, please. Bad films are that. Yes, Mr. Bhatt. You have other suggestions?
Absolutely. And I want to say one more thing. Is that we need to get the new Cinematograph Act bill passed as soon as possible.
I agree with you on that. We need a new bill.
Absolutely.
Well, we'll look at that. We'll look at that. But for now,
we know. Are smart. The young of the country speak their own language, and they certainly respect freedom of speech.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm wrapping this up with an invitation to Mr. Pahlaj Nihalani to join me as soon as he can on a live debate on the Newshour. That's an invitation to you, Mr. Nihlani. Thank you for joining me on debate number 2 on the Newshour tonight.